In this chapter, you will be introduced to the graphical interface and basic terminology of Simcenter Amesim. You will learn about the simulation workflow through the different modes available in Simcenter Amesim. In each mode, you will also see the most relevant features and tools available.
In this video, you will get an overview of Simcenter Amesim's graphical user interface and an introduction to the terminology used. You can start Simcenter Amesim from the installed shortcuts on the desktop or in the Start menu, or from an existing model or circuit file identified by the .aim extension by double-clicking on it. Once opened, you can start building your system or open an existing one. To do so, you can go to the File menu and then Open, use the Open button in the toolbar, or drag and drop a circuit file in the graphical user interface. The biggest window on the interface is the Sketch window. This is where you will build and visualize your system. You can add text, objects, or pictures in your sketch by using the Objects toolbar on the left side of the Sketch window. On the bottom left side, you also have access to functions that allow you to manipulate the sketch view, like zooming in and out, or to organize sketch windows when several models are open. Along the workflow of building and analyzing a system, you will go through 4 different modes: sketch mode, submodel mode, parameter mode, and simulation mode. These modes are regrouped in the tabs below the menu toolbar, and you can switch from one mode to another. Below the mode tabs is the Mode Contextual toolbar. It gives you access to tools that are the most relevant for the selected mode. Next to the Sketch window are the Mode Contextual windows. They will change depending on the selected mode. By clicking and holding the header of these windows, they can be moved anywhere around the Sketch window. They can also be floating or closed. You can retrieve them in the menu, Edit, then Show Hide. Finally, on the same level as the Mode tabs, you have the Global toolbar. It regroups the usual features for file management: New, Open, Save File. You will also find Redo and Undo buttons, as well as several shortcuts to launch different tools for pre- or post-processing. Now, let's get introduced to the different terms that are used in Simcenter Amesim context. A library, also called a category, is defined by its physics or application. It is composed of different component icons. The component icon is a graphical representation of a physical element relative to the library domain it is attached to. By connecting components together, you build a circuit, also called a system or model. At this stage, the model is not complete yet since the component icon is just a graphical representation of an element. Indeed, the physical behavior of a component is defined by its chosen submodel. There can be one or several submodels within a component that correspond to different approaches of the physical behavior. The exchange of information between components happens at the ports by which they are connected. Then, to characterize the selected component, you must define its parameters, which are dependent on the selected submodel. Once the simulation is done, you will have access to the different variables that describe the system behavior. These variables also depend on the selected submodel. Among these variables, you have the external variables that correspond to the information exchanged at ports. Then you have internal variables that give additional information on the component's physical state. Depending on the license you have, you may or may not have access to some libraries. You can check the available libraries in the menu, Sketch, to Category Path List. In the Path List window, you can check in the Available Categories section the solutions or libraries that are accessible through the license file you have. You can add custom libraries in the User/Corporate/Managed Libraries tab. In the Current Path List, you can see the displayed libraries in your current session. You can add a library or solution from the Available Categories field to the Current Path List through the Add button in the middle of the window. As explained earlier, the workflow for building and analyzing a system is structured into 4 modes. The Sketch mode that allows you to build your system with the component icons from the different libraries, the Submodel mode to assign a submodel to each component icon, the Parameter mode to define the parameters of the system, and the Simulation mode to run a simulation and proceed to the analysis of the results. Between the Parameter mode and simulation, the model is compiled into a single executable. This concludes the video on user interface and terminology.